This is Bunk on the Better Day Show podcast. You can find me on Instagram at Bunkstagram.
Yeah, what's going on, Bunk? Welcome to the Better Days Show podcast. You know what I'm saying? Where we talk to lifestyle people, creators, artists,
Yep.
rappers, singers, and we're just trying to keep it moving more for
Yep.
the creators, out there, people in the lifestyle, the
hmm
culture.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, man. We got introduced by my boy Mikey.
Word, yeah,
That's my guy.
right. Mike
He's a,
from
he's a good dude.
Yeah, for y'all people, it's Mike from New Balance.
Yep.
We're talking
Yep.
about.
Yep. That's my boy. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you. It's an honor. So what is it exactly you do at Reebok?
So currently, I oversee our specialty and new business development
Hmm.
for Reebok. So I oversee basically right now all of our running and training product in the U.S. as well as the UFC. We have a partnership with the UFC Ultimate Fighting Championship
Right.
that I manage, and on top of that, I'm in charge of new business development. Essentially, what that means is we're trying to find, what the next, big thing is as far as like where things are sold, whether it's a new retailer that comes out, like somebody like StockX, for example.
Hmm.
StockX just came out of nowhere over the past 5 years and is now a huge business. So I'm talking to them. We're talking to all these different types of companies that where we see the sneaker culture going 5-10 years down the road, where it's going to be, and we're trying to find those ones now. So it's a cool job. I do a whole lot of things, but I have a background before this role. I was managing our trend business in the Northeast in New York City. So I worked with a lot of you know sneaker boutiques and urban accounts like Concepts, Bodega here in Boston. I managed as well as like in New York City, we had Packer shoes and Extra Butter. So I did that for a while, but I've been doing a lot of things, man. I've kind of have a well-rounded experience at
Right.
Reebok, doing a whole lot of different things, which is cool.
How did you get your start at Reebok?
So it's kind of a interesting story. In high school, I started working at Fenway Park, right,
Mhm.
selling souvenirs for the Red Sox.
Right.
So it's like that guy down below that's selling hats and shirts and stuff. I was doing that, so I started that in my senior year in high school, and I did that for like 4 or 5 years. Actually, my last year was 2003, so I didn't quite get to be there when they won for the first time in '04, but not for the first time, in 86 years, I should say. But long story short, I was going through college. I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life, and I didn't know. I'm like, being 18 years old, no one knows what they want to do at that point.
Exactly.
So I ended up just staying at Fenway, and then there was a job fair. Believe it or not, like all these companies came to Fenway Park when the Red Sox went on the road,
Mhm.
and they set up in Fenway Park, and there were like lines of people basically doing face-to-face interviews. And so I went there. And I'm like, oh, Reebok. Like, I like shoes,
Right.
So I'm like, I don't know what I want to do in my life. So I stood in line, and there was like 1,000 people going for 11 jobs, and it was entry-level customer service job.
Mhm.
And I stood in line, and I kind of just got lucky. It was almost like speed dating. It was like a 5-minute interview,
Right.
and I had a good 5 minutes, and he took my resume, put it to the side, and then they called me back up, and they liked that I had experience with retail at Fenway, and then so I just started, man, and I've been like, I was 21 at the time,
Right.
so I kind of worked my way up. I kind of think like, having that experience at entry level in customer service is the best thing for anybody's career, because you learn so much about the business. It's not the most like sexy or fun part of the business, but you learn a lot, and it allows you to have a better understanding when you get into your next role. And so then I did that for like 2 years in customer service, and then I took a role of managing all of our athletes. At the time, Reebok was, we had the MLB license, we had the NBA license, we had the NFL, we had all these contracted athletes, and my job was to literally answer the phone when they called in if they wanted free shit. So, but that was like really cool, because I ended up, would speak to these famous athletes, whether it was like Peyton Manning or not Iverson, but Iverson's family. Right. Iverson wouldn't pick up the phone himself, but his family would, and they'd call in. So at the time, being a 23, 24-year-old kid and talking to all these famous people, like, I was like, oh man, this is awesome.
Mind-blowing.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And then after that, I did that for about a year and a half, and then I went into to licensing, working on like things like fitness equipment and all this other stuff. And then after that, that's when I got into sales, and that's where I kind of found my sweet spot. So I really like selling. I like talking to people. Right. That's what I'm good at. And I never like really thought of myself as like a sales guy. I never was like, oh, those people. When you think of salespeople, you think of like, those guys selling like snake oils, or like, the car salesman and shit like that. But it's really what I found. It's really just about like developing a relationship and trusting the person on the other side of the table. Guys going back and forth, and just if they trust you and you trust them and you do what you say you're going to do, that's what sales is. It's not about like trying to like sell a used car, you know what I mean? So that's my favorite part about my job, is the selling and the relationship building. And I've made a career off it now, so I've just kind of been slowly working my way up.
You were saying you kind of got your start around like 18. So what would you tell a 18-year-old now, that would like to get in to, like sales and things like that, to work at Reebok?
Yeah, I mean, I think the best thing to do is get your foot in the door. I think sometimes a lot of younger kids now, they're like, oh man, I went to college for 4 years. I should be making, $60,000-$70,000 right out of school. That's unrealistic, man. You gotta get your foot in the door and prove yourself. So even if it means working at a Reebok outlet store, right? You know what I mean? Do that. Learn the business. Prove yourself, and network, and talk to people, and don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Make yourself uncomfortable. That's the biggest thing, man. Like, even my job right now, I'm the whole running and training business. I'm more into the lifestyle side of the business, right? That's more my passion, and I'm still in that a little bit. But like, I'm appreciative of the fact that they asked me to do this, because it's got me out of my comfort zone, and I got to put myself in uncomfortable situations, and like try to like, all right, I'm not a big runner, but I'm managing our running business now, so I got to think like a runner. I got to get myself like in that zone, and making yourself uncomfortable and pushing yourself forward. That's the best way to do it. So I would say, to get into a company like Reebok, get yourself in the door, whatever it takes to get in there, and then prove yourself. Hard work, like, over anything, Yeah.
You guys working with Pusha T, right? Is it the same thing with like Adidas, Reebok?
Yeah, so with Adidas, Pusha T is Adidas.
Right.
So our biggest ambassador right now is Cardi B, and then Khaled, the R&B singer. That's who we're working with now. But along the way, I mean, if you look at Reebok and where we've been able to be successful, we've always worked. We've been the first ones to really like push the boundaries with musicians. If you look at the early 2000s, when people were signing all these like athletes, we were still doing that, but we signed Jay-Z, we signed 50 Cent, we gave them their own sneaker deals when no one else was doing that. Cool. I could say Adidas did that with Run DMC a long time ago, but we gave them their own shoe line, right? Like, and we've throughout the years we've always done that. So after we had a I'm talking huge success with the G Unit line when that was going crazy, in S Carter with Jay-Z. After that, we even did things with like Nelly. We gave Lil Wayne his own shoe when he was just he wasn't as big as he was now, when he was part of the Hot Boys. We had who else did we do? And then even more recently, we had this program called FAME, which standed for fashion, art, music, entertainment, right? And we did collaborations with, obviously there's Kendrick Lamar, who we signed. We gave him his own shoe. We did something with Tiana Taylor. We did something with Currency. We did something with Cameron. And to me, those are the best ones, man. Like the ones that, like, for example, Cameron, we did a shoe with him that was designed after the Purple Haze album. And most brands now are like they're chasing that big star that's relevant right now. So like, example, like the Baby right now, right? Like he's huge. Brands are probably throwing millions of dollars at him. But like, I think the consumer kind of, I feel like they can sniff out when something's not authentic or credible.
Right.
But when we did these smaller programs with like a Cameron, for example.
Yeah, with the underdog.
Yeah. And he had his time in the 90s, but he's got a cult following, and it's authentic. Right. And we did it in a way where like we released only a certain amount of pairs. We did an event with him in Harlem, which I went to at a Jimmy Jazz. So the whole thing was like authentic, incredible. And to me, that's more impactful on a brand than signing up with a huge asset, a huge, entertainer, just to chase that, to be relevant, right? So I like the fact that Reebok's always done these smaller things with smaller artists, and it's been successful over the years.
So do you guys at times put together like conferences?
Yeah.
Right, because I know in LA they do the Complex Con.
Oh yeah. That's really important. So I didn't know that's what you meant, but yeah, those Complex Cons, and what we'll do is we'll make like releases specifically for that trade show, where that's the only place you can get that product. That's becoming, I think you're going to see that, if the world gets back to normal and people can go to these things, I think you're going to see, already there's like 2 a year. I wouldn't be surprised if there's like 4, 5, 6 a year down the road in all these different cities. And yeah, that's a great way to get some hype and excitement around your brand. And we definitely do that.
Yeah, since we're talking about when things get normal, how is it affecting, like your headquarters, like how you guys are working right now during the COVID?
Yeah, man, it's bizarre. I would say that I'm surprised at how quickly our company is picking up on it, and just the world in general. But first 2 or 3 weeks, like, that was scary. I was like, man, am I going to lose my job? Like, what's going on? Like, my accounts weren't buying anything. They were trying to cancel and return everything. But then, like, after a while, like, there's a big focus on digital right now, right? Because if you think about it, there's been some studies where we basically got 5 years worth of progress in 5 months. Right, so like, think about what the digital world would look like 5 years from now. We got that in 5 months because everyone's kind of leaned in on how to adapt to the situation. So I'd say from a business standpoint, we're kind of leaning in on digital, and we're getting a lot better there. And then from just a personal, like, how to work, it's been weird, but I still feel very connected, even though I can't go into the office. We're probably not going to be able to go in the office until next year.
Wow.
Because we're all on Skype and everyone's just like, we use this program called Microsoft Teams. All of our calls are, face to face. So it's surprising to me how quickly everyone's becoming accustomed to it. But it's definitely weird, man.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah,
But
well,
anyway.
we're also, if you think about it, like, there is a huge, just business impact on COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And we made the Adidas Group. We're lucky that we're owned by the Adidas Group. We made a decision to not furlough people, not lay people off, try to keep the business moving.
That's a good thing.
But because of that, like, there's a hiring freeze right now. Like, there's not a whole, you know what I mean? Like, we got to be careful about cash flow. But I anticipate with the way things are moving, we're having a lot more success than we initially thought we were, because people are buying things online.
Yeah.
Hopefully that comes back. But hey, man, you got my number, so let me know if there's something that catches your eye. Let me know.
That Bunk can do, right?
Yeah. I'll see what I
can
do. I'll try, man. I'll try.
Yeah, man. Anything else you want to tell the people, about Reebok?
Yeah, man. I love our brand. I think that we've been we're probably somewhat of an inconsistent brand. Like, we're hot and then we're not, and then we're hot and then we're not. But I think that I love the fact that we're a challenger brand right now, and it's I just see what I see coming down the pipeline from the brand on both, like, the performance side of the business, but also what we're doing in lifestyle. I just see so much progress that is coming out, and I think that we're definitely going to do some damage here in the next few years, and people are going to start to notice us a little more. I think what we're doing on the basketball side of the business right now is awesome. Like, bringing back a lot of the Iversons, a lot of the question mid, which is his first shoe. That thing's, like, blowing up right now. It's like we can't keep them in stock. The Kamikaze, which is Sean Kemp's shoe, that just released. I mean, we got the thing about Reebok, man. Like, no matter what the trend is, if you think about it, right, there's trends that go along, like, whether it's basketball, whether it's mid 90s basketball, whether it's early 2000s runners, whether it's like old, like retro running, whether it's like tennis shoes from the 80s. Like, we got every trend that's going to happen. We're there, and there's only like two or three other brands that can do that, and that's obviously Nike, us, maybe Adidas, a little bit here and there. But, like, other brands, I mean, I think that's why we're always going to be relevant. We just need to be a little bit more consistent with how we go to market, which I'm confident we're going to do. And we got a lot of good people at our company, and just doing things the right way. And there's going to be a lot of heat from us coming out in the next few years. I'll tell you that.
And you guys also did some work with Future.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. We got he's had a few of his own shoes with us as well. I think going forward, though, we're going to be focusing more on the guys that are truly authentic to our brand, and I probably shouldn't say too much, but I think that we're going to always use musicians and people like that to help push our fashion business forward.
Would you guys ever work with, like, a Boston artist, to rep them, or do you guys ever work with a Boston artist? Like you guys working with, like, a Future.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those, like, I think we're open to working with anybody. I personally love oh man, I can't believe I'm blanking on his name now. Yeah, what's his name? He's
Is he a DJ?
No, he's a rap. He's one of the Boston guys to really come out recently. On the
You
local
mean
scene.
you mean cousin?
Yeah, Cousin Stiz.
Hmm.
Cousins, yeah. So I love Cousin Stiz, and I think that he's somebody that I've always kind of vouched for in the building.
Hmm.
But I think at the time he was working, he might have been working with Saucony or somebody. But there hasn't been a whole lot of Boston artists that have made it mainstream. I guess you could say Joyner Lucas is the most recent one that I can think of,
Hmm.
and I hope that there's more coming. It's when you think about the Boston music like hip hop scene, it's always been said that a lot of them like they don't really. There's not a whole lot of support for each other. I don't know if you agree with that, but I feel like it's growing. It's getting better.
Yeah,
Where
it's
people
getting
are
better.
like, it's getting better, and I want to see more of that. But yeah, I mean, the right artist comes along, we're always open to looking at that and hearing from them. I think what we need to do as a brand, though, and it's something we are going to do before we, how can we help like in general in Boston? I think we need to get more diverse with our employees.
Hmm.
That's a huge deal. Like
Right.
right now, I mean, it's interesting, right? Because Massachusetts is predominantly white, right, and that's where
Hmm.
we're headquartered. But the black community has supported us for years, and that's where we sell a lot of
Correct.
shoes.
Hmm.
So we need to see more diversity within our workforce.
Right.
I think that's like our next mission before like just trying to sign a rapper or whatever. Like we gotta really, we say these things, we put them out on social media, like we support the black community, but we need to really put our money where our mouth is, right,
Right.
and get
Right.
more diverse people, and I think, and that's a big mission for us, and we are putting our money where our mouth is, and if you read up on the brand and what we're doing, like we're supporting that 100%. And I think once we get that, we get some more people in here that can kind of bring fresh ideas. I think that of course we're only gonna continue to look at opportunities like you just talked about.
Yeah, because I have a list of artists that I think that might be good for a Reebok brand. Even to start small with them. Maybe
Yeah,
not sign them directly to Reebok. Like you will
yeah,
do with like a Future.
yeah,
Kind of like put the brand behind them, and maybe like promote them to you guys social media, just so people and mass know that, okay, Reebok is in Boston, and this is what we doing on a small scale, to see where it goes. Maybe give it
yeah,
like a couple months and see
yeah,
if people really like, oh, okay, I heard of June Life.
yeah,
I I'll do some, you
yeah, yeah,
guys, something like that,
yeah.
and
I
that's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, a couple years ago, well, when I was still managing the trend business, I did a. I'm big into the battle rap scene. I just love that, and I got we did. I was managing Eblin's. Are you familiar with Eblin's, the shoe store?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They
They
got like
got they
30.
got different chains up in
Yeah,
Boston. Hmm.
yeah. There's like 30 plus, I think, stores now in the New England area.
Right.
But I got a battle rap going, and I got Chilla Jones actually. Do you know Chilla Jones?
Mm, doesn't
He's
sound too
he
familiar.
you got to get him on the show, man.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, he's nationally known in the battle rap scene. So if you look at like the URL, the Ultimate Rap League,
Hmm.
he's
I
he's one of
do.
the
I do
yeah
actually.
yeah. He's from Boston. He went to my high school. He went to Latin Academy.
Okay.
So I went there, and I just kind of knew, somehow I got linked in. I forget how I got linked up with him, but I knew him, and we asked him to come through, and he did a rap battle there, and we did a cipher. We had Easy Money from
Yeah.
Boston as well, and a couple
Yeah.
other
I think he's
guys.
from Lawrence.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
He's dope.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love him. And then Maroney, Maroney? I think he's from Quincy. He's dope. We got him in there. We got a Excel from Brockton, who's also on the battle scene. And we did an event at Eblin's, and it was awesome, man. And I think we need to do more of that, connect with the local community. So
yeah, that would definitely work.